after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the stories keep coming in. I keep hearing about people who are being laid off, their positions are being eliminated, or otherwise just getting fired after having a long time with these employers. And we're hearing the jobs getting cut time after time after time, particularly now with these inflationary pressures. These companies are in a big hole right now. And the best thing they can do is cut their expenses, which means cutting labor. And if you are affected or you think that you may be affected, you definitely have to listen to this episode.
Welcome to the Licensed to Live show, where professionals, doctors, champions, VIPs, attorneys, and those in public office discover strategies that help you restart and gain what is lost when you find yourself accused. If another has doubted your integrity, questioned your credentials, or caused your actions to come under scrutiny, you are in the right place. On the other hand, if you have never felt the knot in the pit of your stomach when legal papers are served, the heartbreak of disappointing your family when the lock clicks shut on handcuffs, or had to appear before a board of review, then be aware, the longer you serve, the more likely you are to find yourself under the microscope of those who judge. Prepare yourself for this uncomfortable possibility. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jarrett Patton.
Welcome to episode 147 of Licensed to Live. My name is Dr. Jarrett Patton, and I am your host for our journey together today and every day you choose to listen to this show. If you or anyone you know has been dissed in their career, please invite them to join us along this journey. Just go to your favorite podcast player and hit subscribe. And while you're there, make sure you rate this episode and give us honest feedback so we make sure we continue to provide you the most up-to-date information about career challenges and life changes. And today it's about the job cuts. It's about job loss. It's about how to survive after you get that letter, after you have that conversation. And now it doesn't matter if you've had loyalty in these companies. The stories people are telling me now, they're horrific. You figure if you have a 20, 30-year career, you're going to be good to go. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to survive these layoffs if one happens to you. And I'm going to give you one important tip, something you can do right now before that layoff happens. And we'll get to that right after we finish thanking our sponsors.
Something smells good. EH3 coffee. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. Nothing better than waking up. EH3 in your cup. Premium organic. EH3 coffee. Nothing better than in the middle of your day. EH3 coffee. Premium organic. EH3 coffee.
Hey, this is Dr. Jarrett Patton. Do you need more positivity in your life? No matter what part of your life you want to transform, positive affirmations can help you achieve your goals. But sometimes making permanent changes can be difficult. Designed with you in mind, Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will inspire and equip you to become the best version of yourself. Licensed to Live. Daily affirmations to rebuild your life will set you on the path to changing your mindset, beliefs, speech, and ultimately your actions. You can change your life now by getting your copy at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your finer book retails, or licensedtolive.com. That's licensedtolive.com.
Hey guys, this is Janae Noonan, and I'm here with Dr. Jarrett on Licensed to Live. Hit the subscribe, follow the journey, let's go.
Attention, attention, attention. Save the date, July 14th, 15th, 16th. Location, the Bellevue Hotel, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Licensed to Live, the conference is back once again. Everybody, save the date. I'm serious. This year, the program is going to be better than ever. Make sure you check out the latest updates. Early bird sales will start soon. So check out licensetolive.com. Yeah, I remember waking up that day just like any other. I was excited. I finally had this message that I was going to deliver to the board of trustees, talking about health equity and some disparities that we actually found in some areas. And I was pumped up. It was a day like no other. Little did I know I would be going home with a box that very same day. And hopefully you've never had an abrupt departure from your job. And if you have, you can know what some of those feelings are like. You are suddenly in disbelief. I've spent so many years working for this company, and just like that, things fall apart and they go away. It is difficult to stomach. The feelings of what will I do now? How will this be handled? Where will I find another job? How are I going to pay my bills? All the things that naturally occur to you to make you feel almost a little bit panicked in these situations. And I'm telling you right now, I've been through that situation, and tens of thousands of people are going through that situation now, whether the companies are in big tech, whether the companies are in healthcare. We're looking at, even if we're looking at healthcare insurers, if we're looking at big pharma companies, whether we're looking at hospitals and health systems, people who don't ordinarily lose jobs are losing jobs now. The economy and the inflationary pressures, the pandemic and the shakeup that caused in all types of industries, it's all coming to a head now. And the quickest way companies can cut costs right now is by cutting jobs. That tends to be their biggest line item on the budget in most places, is their employee costs, whether their wages, their benefits. And when things get tough, people have to start going. And this is holding true the beginning of 2023, where Forbes has reported that so many jobs have been slashed and cut just in January 2023 alone. And I want to let you guys know that you are not immune. I don't care if you've had a stellar career for 30 years somewhere. It may be your time to go. And there's lots of algorithms these places look at in order to figure out who stays and who goes. But I've been in these boardroom, folks. People don't sit here and say, oh, well, don't remember Sue has 3 young children and she should keep her job for a long time, and maybe we can spare her, and maybe we can let Harvey go. Harvey's been here. He's close to retirement. Maybe we let him go instead. Those discussions do not happen in a boardroom, folks. The discussions that happen are something like, well, in order to save this crisis, we're going to have to eliminate 350 jobs, and it's going to have to come across everybody, administration, frontline workers, you name it. And that ends up being the number. That's the number that's seen on the spreadsheet. And the discussions only go, how close to that number of 350 are we? And how many more jobs do we have to eliminate? And it's not really the board sitting around thinking about your best interest and saying it's going to be really tough to let these good employees go. Now, on some level, yes, they're human and they realize what's going on. But the crux of the matter is that they have to show some sort of fiscal responsibility, which means that some people won't have a job, and you may get notice. And if it's a nice breakup, you might get a couple months, maybe even a couple years severance if you're really lucky and have been there for a long time. But you know what? It is something that is completely disruptive, and most of the time people don't see it coming. So for those of you who are out there working away, trying to figure out what to do with your life, how to make your career and your life better, I'm glad you're taking the time listening to this show. So thank you for that. The second thing that you can do is just always be prepared for the unexpected, because even when you think, well, they couldn't eliminate me, I'm the so-and-so, they can't complete these tasks without me because I'm a crucial piece of this. At the end of the day, that doesn't boil up to that spreadsheet. And if you're going to create some cost savings, bam, you're out of there. And that's how it's thought about. It's not necessarily a rational way to go about it, but it is something that companies go through time and time again. And with all of that being said, there's not a lot that you can do to prevent this. I mean, sure, you're going to show up and do your job to the best of your ability. And all you fire starters, you guys are overachievers anyway. So, of course, that's just a given. But look at the fact that all of this can evaporate in a moment's notice, even if you're the best employee they have. And that is really the tip that I want you guys to have. Know that this can happen at any time and don't take it personally, because most of the time it's not personal. I mean, if you're a marginal employee, you've just been skating by, you've been on action plans, you've had to get the talk-ins to and all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, you probably needed to go anyway, and they were just looking for a good excuse to do it. But for the rest of you guys that have been hardworking, showing up on time, hitting quality metrics, doing exactly the job that you were brought to do and beyond, don't think that you're immune, and don't think that you're too good to be let go, because at the end of the day, people don't want to make those decisions. People don't really want to let people go, but it is a nature of the business at times. So make sure that if there's any layoffs, job cuts, anything going on in your company right now, don't think you're above the next round. So if you come in thinking that you could be part of this next round, that's okay. Now, take that with a grain of salt, because what I don't want you to be is running around like Chicken Little and thinking the sky is falling every single day, because that's going to create your anxiety levels to go sky high. You're not going to be able to enjoy what you want to do, and your life will probably turn into misery because you're just waiting for your turn to go into the slaughterhouse. Well, take a deep breath and just know that it's a real reality. And with the next section, we're going to talk about my 3 R's of career recovery, the things that you can do after a sudden job loss hits you. And we'll get back into those tips right after we finish thanking our sponsor.
The time is now to refresh your career. We help doctors, lawyers, executives, and VIPs refresh and restart. Dr. Jarrett's coaching helps you build confidence, gain more credibility, develop more leadership skills, and gain clarity in your career path. Want to climb the executive ladder or branch out on your own? We'll put your career in overdrive. Visit drjarrett.com and sign up for your free strategy session.
When I met Ice-T at Carnegie Hall a couple years ago, it was just a great meeting and a great opportunity to have a quick chat with him. And he joked that he's a career criminal that is the longest running cop in TV history. And he pointed out the irony of that and how his beginnings as a gangster, a real true life gangster, and then a rapper, and then led his career into a total different area where he has been on television for, over a decade ever since. I mean, he's really been doing some things, and he was at the Grammys, part of the 50th celebration of hip hop. So it was good to see him there. But he said that everything tends to happen by mistake. And if you are let go from your own job, well, this is a mistake, because we know for you fire starters, there are great things that you contribute to your workplaces every single day. And it's not always something that's tangible. It doesn't measure to a bottom line budget item of $6 million or something like that every day, but it's something that you do. And well, if you get in this situation of this layoff, the first things you have to do is kind of get this around your head. Okay, yes, it happened to me. And now what? Now remember that this is happening to you at this point, but it's really the reality of it, it's happening for you. It's going to free a lot of you out of being in a bad position in life. There's some things in your job that you don't like. There's some things in your job that you think you could do better in the next version of your job. So for a lot of people, this is actually something that will get you going back in the right direction, where you can get that balance in life, where you can get that balance in your career, and you can feel just better overall. Because, hey, if your life is getting in balance, if your career is getting in balance, it's going to be great. I mean, a lot of times people joke with me and said, well, I don't even know what you do for work. When I say, well, I work on my business and I may do this, that, and the other. And it may not look like work all the time because, well, you may just see me sitting at a bar drinking a martini, but I could actually be having a very important conversation with the co-author of my new book that will be coming out. We're looking at publishing deals and trying to get this one to come to fruition. I can't wait to tell you guys about it. But I may be sitting at a bar writing some book chapters, and well, it looks like it's fun for people, but it's really work. And you're doing some work that is going to be meaningful to you, but it more importantly is going to be meaningful to others. So always keep that in mind. And so I'm going to lead you guys through the 3 R's to career recovery that I want you guys to remember. And these are kind of like the reading, writing, of arithmetic, of schooling. These are 3 things that you should do right now in order to get yourself to this next part. So the first R is about recalibrating your finances. This goes without saying. When you lose your job, one of the most unsettling things is that you aren't going to have the income that you once had. And then you say, well, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my mortgage? I have a car payment. I have a credit card payment. I'm paying off school loans, for crying out loud. How is this going to work? Well, this is a good time to look at your budget because most people do not live by a budget. This is why the average American ends up in so much financial turmoil, because they don't make a budget. And this first R is about recalibrating your finances. And essentially what you have to do is say, all right, now is the time to look at everything that I need. Food, clothing, shelter. Those are important things. And there's probably a few more things that go on the list. And then you can look at the things that may not be that important. Like, all right, well, I have 6 streaming subscriptions, Disney Plus, Netflix, ESPN, who knows? There's a dozen out there you could have. And maybe you don't need all of that anymore. Maybe you need to scale back on some of these things. Look at your budget on your food items. Yeah, I need food, but do I need to eat at a 4 or 5-star restaurant all the time? Well, probably not. You can probably go to the grocery store, and as long as you're not buying eggs, you'll be all right and be able to scale back some things. So everything has to go on the chopping block because, well, the way you used to live was the way you used to live. Now you don't have a job, so you have to reevaluate the way that you live. Now, it may not be the way that you always want to live, but this is a temporary measure. And part of this scaling back and this recalibration of your finances makes you look at the things that are important in life and the things that aren't important. And you can get rid of a lot of the fluff and still be okay. In fact, you end up being a little bit happier because you say, you know what? Today's the sun is shining. The sky is blue. It's a beautiful day. And that's good enough to make me feel good. I don't need to have performance car or designer clothing. And that may not make me feel that as good as just being able to appreciate the basic things in life. So everything gets out. So you put everything that you're spending money on a list. And you say, well, these things I must continue to play because they're either obligations you have or things that are really crucial to your life. And then the other things can be at risk. And you can go through this exercise a few times as things wind down for you, because you may be very fortunate in the fact you may get a severance payment for a couple of months to start figuring things out. And then let's go. The second R in this is recovering your confidence. Now, your confidence undoubtedly gets shocked in this, even if you can see it coming, even if the newspaper breaks, Acme company is slashing 1,000 jobs. You say, wow, they're slashing 1,000 jobs. I didn't hear anything about this. And, next day you go into work and you get a little pink slip from the Acme company. And unfortunately, you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming. And whether it has anything to do with you, or if you feel like it's your fault, losing a job hurts. It hurts because you're typically putting your energy, your mind, your heart, your soul, because you want to do the best job that you can do. You want to move up the ladder. You want to do a lot of things. And you need to recover this assault that attacks your confidence. So just take a look at it. You say, no big deal. I can brush it off. But know that deep down, it still hurts, because on some level, your body will process this as a failure. You cannot look at it as a failure because this is something that you didn't have anything to do with. Remember, this was a decision that was made in the boardroom without you present, and they weren't even thinking about you when they made this decision. So it kind of trickles down the management and leadership to the point where they have to take numbers and put names to it. And that still is a tough job, having done that several times over my executive career. So you need to do things that are going to help recover your confidence. So now's the time to make that routine of an exercise. Hey, if that's something that you left out of your life because you were spending so much time at your job, say, hey, now I have the time for exercise. I have the time for meditation. I have the time to see what affirmation's about. That's the main reason I wrote License to Live Daily Affirmations to Rebuild Your Life, is these were the affirmations that helped me get through my period of unemployment before I started this business several years ago. So figure something out in your life that can bring more fullness to it. And when you start feeling better, your confidence will come back and you say, all right, I'm ready to apply for this next job. I'm ready to start something on my own. I've always wanted to do this project. And whatever that is, get your mind around it and say, I am worthy. I am just. And pick some of your favorite affirmations to help you get through. And if you don't have any, go to the show notes. I'll give you 30 free ones in the show notes, and you can get started there. The third R that we're going to have is really about redefinition. This is your chance to have a lot of fun because we are going to be redefining your career. So instead of feeling sorry for yourself or becoming depressed, this is the best time to think about your career because, well, that job is old news now. You don't have to worry about the burdens and the things that were always running in your mind and the lists and the tasks and all the things you had to do for that job. You can just let it go because you have nothing to do with that anymore. And if you have that burden released, this is the time you can make your perfect career because now you've had enough experience at your old job to know what you like. You know what you didn't like. And this is the time that you start making a list. For a lot of people, after 20, 30 years of doing something, that is all you know. You have done it so well. You've done it at such a high level. You can't think outside of that. This is the time to really stretch those boundaries. Look at the things that drive you. Look at your purpose. Look at those things that are inside. And for a lot of you fire starters, I know one of your key values is really surrounding the fact that you like to help people. And helping people is an absolute noble thing, and you can help people in many ways. So just because you're a doctor, a nurse, an executive, a lawyer, it doesn't even matter who you are and what you do. because there's things underneath the surface that drive you, and you can find ways to help people in lots of different ways. So you may want to take the time to get some additional training and certification. You may want to go back to school and get another degree. You said this would be the thing that would open up more career opportunities for me, is going back to school. So you may want to go back to school and get that new degree or get that new area of expertise. And that's something fine. You may want to find a coach or a mentor that can help you say, hey, I'd like to restart and refresh. I've always wanted to do this, and let's go. And if that's you, hey, make a strategy session with me. They're free this month. Go to Time with Dr. Jarrett, sign up for a free 30-minute strategy session, and we will talk about your situation and make sure you're there. But the point is that the slate is wide open. You really can do anything. I know for a time when I was jobless, I said, you know what? I always liked truck drivers. I always liked big trucks. Maybe I could be a truck driver. And I remember spending some time trying to pass the commercial driver's license test at the DMV, spending a morning or an afternoon there. And eventually I got that accomplished, but I never took off with my truck driving career. But this is a time that you can really think outside the box and find something that you would like to do. So I want you to keep in mind about these 3 R's. 1, recalibrating your finances. 2, recovering your confidence. And 3, redefining your career, because these are 3 things that you can do after you get that notice that your job is no longer there and available for you. That will get you back on track faster. And remember, even though this is a devastating insult in the time, this is something that is actually happening for your betterment, for you to have a better life. So make sure you take advantage of it. Remember, fire starters, if you or anyone you know has been dissed, disengaged, dissatisfied, displaced, make sure you tell them to join us along in this journey. Simply go to your favorite podcast player and subscribe to Licensed to Live. And while you're there, rate this episode, give me feedback, because we make the show better based on what you're telling me. So many people have been telling me about them losing their jobs, their company cutting jobs back. I had to get this out for you guys because I know some of you guys are suffering, but you don't need to be there. And if you want to reach out to me on social media. I'm at Dr. Jarrett, spell out the word Dr. J-A, 2 R's, E, 1 T. And hey, if you feel like you really want some extra help, get on my calendar. I'm happy to talk with you. I love meeting new people. And trust me, this is one of the best things that will end up happening in your life. Turn that frown upside down, and we'll see you guys next time.
No matter how disheartening the moment of accusation sounds, how deep the pain of immobilization stabs, or how bleak your future looks, no one can take away your license to live. Keep Dr. Jarrett's expertise handy and unlock your future. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or another podcast player and subscribe right now to Licensed to Live. See you next time.